The massive Krillian battlecruiser emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Andromeda sector. Commander Vexthor stood on the bridge, his four arms clasped behind his chitinous back. The Krillian Empire had ruled this region of space for 3,000 years. Their warriors were bred for battle, their technology unmatched by any species they had encountered. "Sir, we're detecting unusual energy signatures near the mining colony," reported his tactical officer. Vexthor's compound eyes narrowed. The mining colony on Kepler 442b had gone silent 3 days ago. The Krillians had sent 2 patrol ships to investigate. Neither had returned. "Prepare for combat," Vexthor ordered. "Whatever destroyed our ships will learn the price of challenging the Empire." The battlecruiser moved deeper into the system, its sensors sweeping for threats. The crew was confident. They had conquered 100 worlds, enslaved dozens of species. Their plasma cannons could vaporize asteroids. Their shields could withstand the heat of a star. Then, the tactical display lit up with new contacts. "Commander, we're detecting. This can't be right," the officer stammered. "Speak clearly." 12 vessels approaching from the far side of the planet. Configuration unknown. "They're small, sir. Barely larger than our fighter craft." Vexthor relaxed. Small ships meant pirates or scavengers. Nothing that could threaten a Krillian battlecruiser. "Open communications. Tell them to surrender or be destroyed." The communications officer worked his console. "No response, sir." "Wait, they're transmitting something. It's not a language in our database." The computer is trying to translate. On the main screen, strange symbols appeared. After a moment, they resolved into Krillian text. "This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earth Defense Force. You have entered a designated combat zone. You have 30 seconds to reverse course." The bridge erupted in harsh laughter. Vexthor's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Earth?" He vaguely recalled intelligence reports about a primitive species from a backwater system. They had only achieved faster-than-light travel in the last decade. "Humans," he sneered. "They barely qualify as sentient. Open fire the moment they're in range." The 12 human ships continued their approach. They moved in perfect formation, each vessel identical to the others. Sleek black hulls with no visible weapons ports. No massive gun turrets or glowing energy arrays. They looked almost fragile. 20 seconds remaining came the human transmission. "Ignore them," Vexthor commanded. "All weapons, prepare to fire." The Krillian battlecruiser was a masterpiece of military engineering. 2 kilometers long, bristling with weapons. Its main plasma cannon could punch through the hull of a dreadnought. Its point defense lasers numbered in the hundreds. Its fighter bays held 3 squadrons of the Empire's finest pilots. The human ships were 200 meters long. No visible armorplating. No obvious shield generators. 10 seconds remaining. "Sir, should we launch fighters?" asked the wing commander. "Don't waste the fuel. We'll vaporize them with our first volley." 5 seconds remaining. The bridge crew watched the tactical display with predatory anticipation. In moments, these upstart humans would learn why the Krillian Empire had never lost a battle. "Time's up," said Captain Chen's voice. The human ships vanished. "What? Where did they go?" Vexthor roared. "Find them." "I'm trying, sir. They're gone. No hyperspace signature, no cloak residue. The lights on the bridge flickered. For one impossible moment, the artificial gravity failed. Crew members floated briefly before crashing back to the deck. "Report. What's happening?" "Unknown, sir. We're experiencing system failures across the ship. Weapons are offline. Shields are down. Engines are..." The tactical officer never finished his sentence. The main view screen switched to an internal camera feed. In the battlecruiser's engine room, 3 humans in black combat suits stood among the massive power cores. They weren't wearing helmets. They were just standing there, as if the radiation and heat meant nothing to them. One of them, a woman with short dark hair, looked directly at the camera. She smiled and gave a small wave. The feed cut out. "Intruders. How did they get aboard?" "Security teams to the engine room." But the security teams never made it. Internal sensors showed them running through corridors that suddenly sealed shut. Blast doors that should have opened remained locked. Environmental systems began failing in random sections. The temperature in the barracks dropped to freezing. The gravity in the fighter bays increased tenfold, crushing the fighters against the deck. Commander, the computer core is being accessed. Someone's downloading our entire database. Impossible. The core is protected by... Every screen on the bridge displayed the same message. Protection? That's cute. Vex Thor's 4 hands clenched into fists. Where are the human ships? Still no sign of them, sir. It's like they never existed. Another screen activated. This time it showed the ship's armory. 2 humans were casually examining the Krillian weapons. One of them picked up a plasma rifle, looked it over, and shook his head with apparent disappointment. He set it back down and continued browsing like a customer in a shop. Get them off my ship. Sir, internal communications are down. I can't reach any of our teams. The bridge door slid open. Every warrior spun, weapons raised. But instead of human invaders, they saw their own security chief stumble through. His armor was intact, his weapon still holstered. His eyes were wide with shock. Commander, they're everywhere and nowhere. We can't find them. We can't hit them. They walk through walls. They appear and disappear. Our weapons won't fire. The ship won't respond. We're helpless. That's impossible. We are Krillian warriors. We do not know helplessness. The lights went out completely. Emergency power should have activated instantly, but the bridge remained in absolute darkness. In that darkness, a new voice spoke. Young male, almost friendly. You know, where we come from, we have a saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. But in this case, it's more like you brought a pointy stick to a physics fight. The lights returned. A human stood in the center of the bridge. Tall, lean, wearing the same black combat suit. No weapons. No armor beyond the suit itself. He looked around the bridge with casual interest. Every Krillian warrior fired at once. Plasma bolts, laser beams, kinetic rounds. The bridge became a storm of destructive energy. The human didn't move. The attacks hit him and simply stopped. Not absorbed by shields. Not deflected by armor. They just ceased to exist at the point of contact. Are you done? He asked when the firing stopped. Good. Captain Shin wanted me to deliver a message. He pulled out a small device and tapped it. Captain Shin's image appeared as a hologram. Commander Vex Thor, 20 minutes ago, your Empire's fleet attempted to enslave the population of New Tasmania. 50 of your ships attacked a colony of 30,000 civilians. There were no survivors. The human paused the recording. That made us angry. You really don't want to make us angry. The recording continued. Your empire has conquered and enslaved for 3 millennia. That ends today. This is not a negotiation. This is not a warning. This is a statement of fact. The Krillian Empire no longer exists. Vex Thor found his voice. One ship cannot destroy an empire. We have thousands of vessels, billions of warriors. The human smiled sadly. Who said we only sent one ship? The main screen activated, showing a tactical map of Krillian space. Every military base, every fleet anchorage, every shipyard was marked with a red icon. As they watched, the icons began disappearing. One by one, then in groups, then by the dozens. No. Vex Thor whispered. 12 ships, the human said. That's all we sent. 12 ships to end an empire that terrorized the galaxy for 3,000 years. Want to know the funny part? We weren't even trying hard. He walked to the view screen, passing through Krillian warriors like they were holograms. Your technology is based on brute force. Bigger weapons, stronger shields, more armor. You never learned the fundamental truth of warfare. What truth? Vex Thor asked, his voice hollow. That the universe doesn't care how big your gun is if you don't understand the rules it operates by. You use fusion reactors. We manipulate fundamental forces. You bend space for faster-than-light travel. We step outside it entirely. You build armor to stop weapons. We just convince the weapons they don't exist. More red icons vanish from the map. Worlds that had stood for millennia, fleets that had never known defeat, all disappearing in real time. Please, Vex Thor said, the word strange on his tongue. Krillians didn't beg. We surrender. Stop this. The human looked genuinely surprised. Stop? Commander, this ended 18 minutes ago. What you're watching is just light catching up with reality. Your empire died the moment you murdered those colonists. We're just here to make it official. The last red icon disappeared. The Krillian Empire, master of 1,000 systems, terror of the galaxy, had been erased in less time than it took to eat a meal. Captain Chen's image spoke again. To any species monitoring this transmission, humanity offers friendship to all who seek peace. But those who prey on the innocent will learn why we were the apex predators of our world. We didn't climb to the top of our food chain by being nice. We did it by being smart. And now we're much, much smarter. The human turned to leave, then paused. Oh, one more thing. Your ship's computer has been reprogrammed. In about 2 minutes, it's going to jump to your homeworld and broadcast everything that happened here. Every moment of your defeat. Every second of your helplessness. Let the galaxy know that humanity has arrived. He vanished, not in a flash of light or swirl of energy. One moment he was there, the next he wasn't. Navigation. Override the computer. Stop that jump. I can't, sir. We're locked out of all systems. Vexthor sank into his command chair. His empire was gone. His people's pride shattered. And soon, every species they had oppressed would know that the Krillians could be defeated. The hyperspace jump engaged. Stars blurred past the view screen. In minutes, they would arrive at the homeworld, bearing witness to their civilization's end. Sir, the tactical officer said quietly. Sensors show the human ships are back. They're following us. On the screen, 12 small black shapes moved in perfect formation behind them. No weapons charged. No aggressive movements. Just following, watching, making sure the message was delivered. The mighty Krillian Empire had entered a war zone. They hadn't lasted a minute. The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called within hours of the first reports. Representatives from 47 species gathered in the ancient chamber on Centaur Station. The air was thick with pheromones of fear, confusion, and disbelief. Ambassador Thrix of the Altarian Confederation stood at the central podium, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's lights into rainbow patterns. The reports are confirmed. The Krillian Empire has fallen. Every military installation destroyed. Every warship disabled. Their entire fleet grounded on their homeworld, computers locked, weapons permanently offline. A wave of shocked murmurs swept through the assembly. The Krillian Empire had been the dominant military force in the galaxy for longer than some civilizations had existed. How many ships did these humans send? Asked the vegan delegate, his tentacles writhing nervously. 12. The chamber erupted. Shouts of disbelief, accusations of misinformation, demand for proof. Fricks waited for quiet. I have here the sensor logs from 17 different observation posts. The timestamp shows the Krillian Empire controlled over 3,000 military vessels at 1442 Galactic Standard Time. At 1503, they control none. 21 minutes. Impossible. The Rigelian ambassador's 6 eyes were wide with shock. No force in the galaxy could achieve such destruction so quickly. Even if every ship exploded simultaneously. That's just it, Thrix interrupted. There was no destruction. No explosions. No debris fields. The ships are intact. They simply don't work anymore. Every circuit fried. Every weapon disabled. Every engine cold. The Krillians have been reduced to a pre-spaceflight civilization in less time than this meeting has been in session. The chamber fell silent. Every species present had suffered under Krillian aggression at some point. Trade routes disrupted, colonies raided, worlds forced to pay tribute. But none had ever imagined the Empire could fall, especially not like this. What do we know about these humans? Asked the Proximan delegate. Thrix gestured, and a hologram appeared above the chamber. A blue-green world orbiting a yellow star. Earth, located in what they call the Orion Arm population, approximately 11 billion. They achieved faster-than-light travel only 12 years ago. 12 years. The Betelgeusian representative's voice was skeptical. They went from first FTL flight to defeating the Krillians in 12 years. The intelligence reports are concerning. When humanity first achieved FTL, they sent out exploration ships. Peaceful contact with anyone they met. They established small colonies, engaged in trade, showed every sign of being just another young species finding its place. So what changed? New Tasmania. 3 days ago, a Krillian fleet attacked their newest colony. 30,000 civilians, mostly families. The Krillians wanted slaves for their dilithium mines. When the colonists refused to surrender, Fricks paused. There were no survivors. Men, women, children, all dead. The chamber was quiet again, but it was a different kind of silence. Every species had lost people to the Krillians. They understood the pain, but they also understood something else. That pain had awakened something terrible. The humans sent a single message after the massacre, Thrix continued. It was broadcast on all frequencies in all known languages. It said, "You have our attention." And then 12 ships departed from Earth. Not their largest ships, not their most heavily armed, just 12 standard vessels. What happened next, we're still trying to understand. The hologram shifted, showing tactical data from the engagement. The human ships demonstrated capabilities we believed were theoretical at best. Phasing through solid matter. Teleportation without detectable energy signatures. Selective nullification of technology. They didn't destroy the Krillian fleet, they simply made it irrelevant. But how? The Andromedan delegate leaned forward. What technology allows such feats? That's what's truly frightening. Initial analysis suggests it's not technology as we understand it. It's something else. A manipulation of reality itself. As if the humans simply decided the Krillian weapons shouldn't work, and reality agreed. The Sagittarian ambassador stood, his ancient voice carrying the weight of millennia. I have lived for 3,000 years. I have seen empires rise and fall, but I have never seen power wielded with such precision. They didn't genocide the Krillians. They didn't bomb their worlds. They simply removed their ability to wage war. That shows restraint. Restraint. The Orion delegates' scales flushed red. They eliminated the galaxy's most powerful military in 20 minutes. What happens when they decide we're a threat? Perhaps, a new voice said from the chamber entrance. You should ask us directly. Every head turned. A human woman stood in the doorway, wearing simple civilian clothes. No armor, no visible weapons. She was alone. Security forces raised their weapons, but Thrix gestured for them to stand down. You are Dr. Lisa Park, Earth's newly appointed ambassador to the Galactic Council. I apologize for arriving unannounced, but given recent events, we felt it important to address your concerns immediately. How did you get here? The security chief demanded. This station is 30,000 light years from Earth. You couldn't have traveled here in 3 days. Dr. Park smiled slightly. Distance is relative. May I approach the podium? Thrix nodded slowly. The human walked through the chamber, every eye tracking her movement. She seemed so ordinary. Average height, brown hair streaked with gray, lines around her eyes that suggested she smiled often. She looked like someone's grandmother, not a representative of a species that had just toppled an empire. At the podium, she looked around the chamber, meeting as many eyes as she could. I'm sure you have questions. We'll answer what we can. But first, I need you to understand something about humanity. We are by nature explorers and builders. We dream of the stars, of new friends, of shared knowledge. That's why we reached out peacefully when we achieved FDL travel. And yet you destroyed the Krillians, the vegan delegate accused. We neutralized their military capabilities, Dr. Park corrected. Their worlds are intact. Their people are alive. Their civilization continues. They just can't hurt anyone anymore. But why? What gave you the right? Dr. Park's expression hardened. They murdered children. 30,000 civilians who wanted nothing more than to build new lives among the stars. The Krillians could have asked for trade. They could have negotiated for resources. Instead, they chose slaughter. That triggered something in us. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Humans have a peculiar trait. We are capable of incredible kindness and terrible wrath. For 12 years, we showed the galaxy our kind face. The Krillians forced us to show the other. So you're saying we should fear you? No, you should understand us. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We don't want to conquer or enslave. We want to explore, to learn, to grow alongside other species. But, and this is crucial, we will not tolerate those who prey on the innocent. Not anymore. The Rigelian ambassador clicked his mandibles nervously. Your technology, how did you advance so quickly? Dr. Park smiled again, but it didn't reach her eyes. When we achieved FTL, we realized something profound. The universe isn't just bigger than we imagined, it's fundamentally different than we believed. Your species developed technology to work within the rules of physics. We realized the rules themselves were more like suggestions. That's impossible. The laws of physics are immutable. Are they? Your ships push against space to move. Ours convince space we're already where we want to be. Your weapons project energy. Ours adjust the probability of damage. You see technology as tools. We see it as a conversation with reality itself. And reality listens to you? Sometimes. We're still learning the language. But we've always been good at languages. The Altarian ambassador spoke up. What are your intentions toward the Council? To join it, if you'll have us. To contribute to galactic civilization. To share knowledge and culture. To help defend those who cannot defend themselves. Dr. Park's voice grew firm. But make no mistake, what happened to the Krillians was not a declaration of war on a galaxy. It was a statement of principle. Leave the innocent alone, and you have nothing to fear from humanity. And if someone doesn't, then they'll discover why we were the only sapient species on a world full of predators. We didn't become Earth's dominant species by being the strongest or the fastest. We did it by being clever. And we've had 12 years to get much cleverer. The Sagittarian ambassador stood again. You speak of principles. What principles guide humanity? Dr. Park considered the question. We have a saying, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. For 12 years, we did nothing as the Krillians terrorized the galaxy. We told ourselves we were too young, too new, too weak to make a difference. New Tasmania taught us the price of that inaction. She looked around the chamber again. So here are humanity's principles, clearly stated. We will explore with wonder. We will trade fairly. We will share knowledge freely. We will defend the defenseless. And we will end those who prey on the innocent. Not enslave. Not conquer. End. You're talking about appointing yourselves as galactic police. No, we're talking about being good neighbors. If someone breaks into your home to harm your family, you don't call for a committee. You stop them. That's what we did. That's what we'll continue to do. The Orion delegates stood, scales still flushed. And if we decide humanity is too dangerous, if we vote to expel you from council space, Dr. Park sighed. Then we'll leave. We'll respect the council's decision and withdraw to our own space. But the pirates and slavers you've tolerated for centuries, the raiders who prey on your border worlds, the empires built on suffering, they won't last long. Not anymore. Is that a threat? It's a promise. To every child who watches the stars in fear, to every colony that dreads the arrival of unknown ships, to every species that has had to choose between freedom and survival. That fear ends now. Humanity is here, and we've chosen a side. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some delegates seemed relieved, others terrified. The balance of power that had existed for millennia had shifted in minutes, and everyone was struggling to understand what it meant. Fricks called for order. Dr. Park, the council will need to deliberate. This is unprecedented. I understand. Take your time. We're not going anywhere. Dr. Park smiled, and this time it was genuine. Well, we're going everywhere, really. So many stars to see. So many people to meet. But we'll be around when you're ready to talk. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, one more thing. We've intercepted communications suggesting several pirate fleets are planning to test our defenses. They seem to think what happened to the Krillians was a fluke. A one-time event we can't repeat. They're wrong. She walked out of the chamber the same way she had entered. Calmly, confidently, alone. Behind her, 47 species contemplated a galaxy where humanity had arrived. Some saw protectors, others saw conquerors. But all of them understood one fundamental truth: the rules had changed. The weak had found a champion, and the predators who had stalked the galaxy for so long were about to become prey. The Crimson Syndicate had ruled the Outer Rim for over 2 centuries. Their fleet of modified warships struck without warning, taking what they wanted, enslaving whom they pleased. Their leader, a scarred Draconian named Corax the Cruel, had never known defeat. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Blood Harvest, studying intelligence reports. Around him, his lieutenants waited nervously. The fall of the Krillian Empire had sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld. So, Corax growled, his voice like grinding stone. The mighty Krillians fell to hairless apes. What do we make of this? His tactical officer, a slim Zephyrian, pulled up the data. The humans used unknown technology. Phasing, teleportation, selective system failures. 12 ships defeated thousands. Tricks, Corax spat. Smoke and mirrors. The Krillians were arrogant, complacent. They underestimated their enemy. We won't make that mistake. But, sir, if the reports are accurate, Corax's tail lashed out, sending the officer sprawling. I said, Tricks, do you think these humans are gods? They bleed like anyone else. We'll prove it. His communications officer spoke up. The other syndicates are watching, sir, waiting to see what we do. If we back down from humans, we'll look weak. Corax finished. And weakness is death in the Outer Rim. No, we'll test these humans. Find their limits. Exploit their weaknesses. What's the plan? Corax smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. These humans claim to protect the innocent. Let's see how far that protection extends. Set course for Epsilon Eridani. The mining station there has been under our protection for 50 years. Time to collect our tribute. The Blood Harvest and its escort fleet, 30 ships strong, entered hyperspace. They emerged hours later at the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system. The mining station orbited a barren world, extracting rare minerals from the asteroid belt. Sir, we're detecting unusual readings, the sensor operator reported. Human ships? No, sir. It's the mining station. Energy output is 300% above normal. They've upgraded their shields and weight. They're hailing us. On screen, the view screen activated, showing not the usual terrified station administrator, but a young human man in mining overalls. He was smiling. Crimson Syndicate Fleet. This is Mining Station Epsilon 7. I'm James Mitchell, the new security coordinator. You're here for your protection payment, I assume. Corax leaned forward. So, the humans have reached even here. Yes, we're here for our tribute. 500 units of processed trilithium, as agreed. About that. James's smile widened. We're canceling that arrangement. The station is under new management. We won't be paying protection money anymore. The bridge fell silent. Then Corax began to laugh, a sound like breaking glass. You? One human on a mining station thinks he can defy the Crimson Syndicate? Boy, I have 30 warships. What do you have? Math. What? James pulled out a small tablet. See, I've been going over your syndicate's history. In 200 years, you've raided approximately 3,000 ships and stations. Killed about 1.2 million sentients. Enslaved another 800,000. That's a lot of suffering. Your point. My point is that we really don't like those numbers. So we're going to change them. Starting now. Corax snarled. All ships, prepare to attack. Let's show this fool what happens when you defy the Syndicate. Oh, I wouldn't do that, James said casually. See, you're assuming we're on the station. Common mistake. What? We're not on the station. We're already on your ships. The lights on the Blood Harvest flickered. Corax spun around to see 3 humans standing by the weapons console. They weren't there a second ago. No transported beam, no opening doors. They just existed where they hadn't before. One of them, a woman with red hair, waved. Hi there. Nice ship. Bit gaudy for my taste, but To each their own. The bridge crew opened fire. Plasma bolts and laser beams converged on the humans. The energy simply went elsewhere, not blocked or absorbed. It just took a detour around them. That's rude, the woman said. We're trying to have a conversation. Korax drew his personal weapon, an ancient draconian blade that had tasted the blood of 1,000 enemies. He charged, moving with speed that had made him legendary among pirates. The woman caught the blade between two fingers. The metal, forged in the heart of a dying star, shattered like glass. Now that's just wasteful, she chided. Do you know how hard it is to forge star metal? Around the bridge, more humans appeared. They didn't fight. They didn't need to. They simply walked to various consoles and began working. Every pirate who tried to stop them found themselves gently, but firmly moved aside by forces they couldn't see or understand. What are you doing to my ship? Korax demanded. Uploading something, the woman said cheerfully. See, we could destroy your fleet. Turn every ship into expanding clouds of atoms. But that seems so permanent. We prefer to be educational. Educational. The main screen changed, showing the other ships in the fleet. Each one was experiencing the same thing. Humans appearing from nowhere, taking control without violence, without destruction. Just an inevitable, inexorable takeover. Every person you've ever hurt, the woman continued. Every life you've taken, every family you've destroyed, we have their names. Their stories. And now so do you. What? Check a neural implant. Korax felt it then. Information flooding into his mind. Not forced, not painful, just there. A young Altarian female, taken from her family, died in the mines after 3 years. She had liked to sing. Her name was Vel. Her mother still waited for her to come home. A human child, caught in a raid, spaced because the slavers didn't have room for someone so small. His name was David. He had wanted to be a pilot. An elderly Proximan, killed defending his grandchildren. His name was Theta 9. He had spent 30 years perfecting a recipe for sweet root soup that his family still made in his memory. Name after name. Face after face. Life after life. Every one of them real. Every one of them gone. Every one of them a direct result of Korax's choices. Stop, he whispered. No, the woman said simply. You spent 2 centuries dealing out suffering without thinking of the cost. Now you know. Every name, every face, every dream you ended. They'll be with you always. Korax fell to his knees. Around him, his crew was experiencing the same thing. Hardened pirates who had laughed at suffering were weeping, confronted with the reality of what they had done. But that's just the beginning, James said from the screen. You see, we're also uploading something else. A new program for your ship's computers. From now on, anytime you try to commit violence against an innocent, your systems will shut down. Weapons, engines, life support. Everything goes dark until you change course. You're crippling us. No, we're giving you a choice. You can still be pirates if you want. Attack other criminals, fight other syndicates, steal from those who steal. But the moment you target someone who hasn't chosen that life, your ship becomes a floating tomb. The woman knelt beside Korax. You have a decision to make. You can try to find ways around her programming. You can rage against the unfairness of it all. Or you can change. Use your skills for something better. Protection that actually protects. Strength used to defend rather than destroy. Why? Korax asked. Why not just kill us? Because death teaches nothing. You've been dead inside for centuries, dealing death because you felt nothing. Now you feel everything. That pain? That guilt? That's you becoming alive again. The question is, what will you do with that life? She stood and nodded to the other humans. They began to vanish, one by one, the same way they had appeared. Wait, Korax called out. How? How do you do this? The woman paused. You want the technical answer or the philosophical one? Both. Technically, we learn to see the universe as it really is, not solid matter and empty space, but probability clouds and quantum foam. We don't move through space. We adjust our probability of existence. We don't hack your computers. We convince the electrons they'd rather be somewhere else. And philosophically, we remembered that at the quantum level, Everything is connected. Every atom in your body was forged in the heart of a star. Every thought in your mind is electrons dancing to the rhythm of the universe. Hurt someone else, and you hurt yourself. Help someone else, and you help yourself. It's not mysticism. It's physics. She smiled sadly. You've spent so long seeing others as separate as things to be used. We see the connections. That's our real power, not our technology, our perspective. She vanished. The bridge was quiet except for the soft sobbing of hardened killers confronting their humanity. On the screen, James was still there. The mining station is safe now, as is every other innocent in this sector. Spread the word to the other syndicates. The age of preying on the defenseless is over. Adapt or die. Those are your options. The transmission ended. Korax remained on his knees, the weight of 1,000,000 ghosts pressing down on him. His tactical officer approached hesitantly. "Sir, your orders." Korax was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different. Older. Tired. "Set course for Vega Prime." "Sir, that's a medical station. They don't have anything worth. They have patients who need protection from raiders." "Real protection." Korax stood slowly. "For 2 centuries, we've been the monsters in the dark. Maybe it's time we tried being something else." The crew won't like it. The crew is sobbing in the corridors, haunted by the faces of everyone they've hurt. "I think they'll understand." He looked at the shattered remnants of his blade. "Send a message to the other syndicates. Tell them the Crimson Fleet is changing its business model. We protect now, actually protect. And if any of them had a problem with that." "Yes, sir." "Tell them the humans gave us a gift. We can see the connections now. The web of cause and effect. Hurt an innocent, and you hurt yourself. They can learn that lesson from us, or they can learn it from the humans. But they will learn it." The Blood Harvest changed course, followed by its fleet. 30 ships that had brought terror to the Outer Rim now headed to defend those who needed defending. Not because they were forced to, because they finally understood why they should. In the weeks that followed, the transformation of the Crimson Syndicate sent ripples through the underworld. Some syndicates tested the humans, attacked innocent targets to see if the threats were real. They learned quickly that they were. Ships that had never known failure found themselves dead in space the moment they targeted civilians. Weapons that could crack moons simply stopped working when aimed at the defenseless. The humans didn't need to be present. The universe itself seemed to have chosen a side. Some syndicates fought the change, clinging to their old ways. They found themselves increasingly isolated, unable to operate, their members haunted by the faces of their victims. One by one, they either transformed or disbanded. Others, like the Crimson Fleet, embraced their new role. Former pirates became guardians. Those who had taken now gave. Those who had destroyed now built. And through it all, the humans watched. Not as conquerors or rulers, but as gardeners tending a garden. They had planted seeds of change. Now they waited to see what would grow. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Humanity didn't defeat their enemies. They transformed them. And that transformation was spreading one choice at a time. The predators were becoming protectors. The hunters were becoming helpers. Not through force or domination, but through understanding. The humans had brought more than advanced technology to the galaxy. They had brought perspective. And that perspective was changing everything. 1 year had passed since humanity announced itself to the galaxy. The ancient council chambers on Centaurus Station were packed beyond capacity. Representatives from 73 species had gathered, the largest assembly in galactic history. Ambassador Thrix of the Altarian Confederation stood at the central podium, but this time she was not alone. Beside her stood Dr. Lisa Park, Earth's representative, and, surprisingly, former Commander Vexthor of the Krillians. "This past year has seen more change than the previous millennium," Thrix began. "The question before us today is simple. Do we formally recognize Earth as a member of the Galactic Council?" The debate that followed was unlike any before. The Sagittarian delegate spoke first. "In 12 months, piracy has dropped by 97%. The slave trade, which we spent centuries trying to curtail, has effectively ended. 32 former criminal syndicates now operate as protection fleets. These are facts, not opinions. The Betelgeusian representative stood. Yet we must ask, at what cost? The humans wield power we don't understand. They reshape reality itself. What happens when they decide we need reshaping? Dr. Park requested to speak. May I share something with the assembly? A story from Earth's history. The chamber quieted. Human stories have become something of a phenomenon. They're myths and histories offering insights into how this young species thought. Long ago, we had weapons that could end all life on our planet. Nuclear weapons, we called them. For decades, nations pointed them at each other, each afraid the other would strike first. We called it mutually assured destruction. MAD, for short. She paused, looking around the room. We lived on the edge of extinction for nearly a century. Any day could have been our last. But we survived. Do you know how? Your united government? Suggested the vegan delegate. No, we remained divided into nations for much longer. We survived because we learned a simple truth. The power to destroy must be balanced by the wisdom not to. Every nation with nuclear weapons could have ended the world. None did. Not because they couldn't, but because they chose not to. And this relates to our situation how? Because that's what we offer the galaxy. Not domination, but choice. Yes, we could reshape reality to our whims. We could make every species think like us, act like us, be like us. But what would be the point? We'd lose the diversity that makes the galaxy wonderful. The Orion delegate, scales now a calm blue, spoke up. You say this, but how can we trust it? Power corrupts. It's a universal constant. Is it? Dr. Park smiled. Let me ask you something. How many of you have children? About half the delegates indicated they did. And you could hurt them, couldn't you? You're bigger, stronger, smarter. You have complete power over them when they're young. Do you hurt them? Of course not. The Regellian was offended. There are children. Exactly. Power doesn't corrupt. Power reveals. If someone uses power to hurt, it's because the desire to hurt was already there. We have no desire to hurt. We have a desire to help. But you did hurt the Krillians, the Andromedan delegate pointed out. You destroyed their empire. Vex Thor stepped forward. It was the first time a Krillian had addressed the council in 3,000 years as anything other than a conqueror. No, he said quietly. They freed us. The chamber stirred. Vex Thor continued. His 4 arms clasped in what humans had taught him was a gesture of humility. For 3 millennia, we believed might made right. That the strong should rule the weak. That conquest was the highest calling. The humans didn't destroy our empire. They destroyed our illusions. He looked at the assembly. Do you know what my people do now? We build. We create. We protect. The same engineering that went into warships now goes into hospitals. The same warriors who once conquered now stand guard over those who cannot defend themselves. We are more productive, more prosperous, and more happy than we have ever been. You're happy being defeated? We're happy being free. Free from the cycle of violence. Free from the fear that someone stronger would do to us what we did to others. Free to be more than what our ancestors told us we had to be. He turned to Dr. Park. The humans didn't conquer us. They showed us we were conquering ourselves. The Altarian ambassador chimed in. The statistics support this. Krillian space shows a 300% increase in technological innovation, a 500% increase in artistic output, and their first population growth in centuries. By every metric, they're thriving. A new voice spoke from the back of the chamber. May I address the assembly? Everyone turned. A small figure made its way forward. An Epsilon child, one of the species that had been nearly extinct from slave raids. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old by human standards. Who allowed a child in here? The security chief demanded. I did, Dr. Park said. This is Ava. She has something she'd like to say. The child reached the podium, which was taller than she was. Dr. Park lifted her up so she could see the assembly. Her voice was small but clear. My parents were taken when I was 3. I hid in the ventilation system for 2 days until the slavers left. I thought I'd be alone forever. The chamber was utterly silent. Then, the humans came. They found me, fed me, took me to their ship. I was scared because everyone had always told me to be scared of strangers. But you know what they did? She pulled out a small device and activated it. A hologram appeared, her parents alive and, well, waving at the camera. They found them. My mom and Dad were in a mining camp 4 systems away. The humans went there, freed everyone, and brought my parents back. We're a family again because of them. She looked around the chamber with the devastating honesty only children possess. I don't understand all your big words and politics, but I understand this. I have my parents back. Thousands of families are together again. Isn't that worth something? She climbed down and walked back through the chamber. Not a single delegate could meet her eyes. Dr. Park let the silence stretch before speaking. That's why we're here. Not for power. Not for control. For her. For everyone like her. For the chance to make the galaxy a place where children don't have to hide in ventilation systems. The Sagittarian ambassador stood slowly. I call for the vote. All in favor of granting Earth full membership in the Galactic Council. One by one, the votes were cast. The species that had suffered under the Krillians voted yes immediately. Those who had benefited from the protection of reformed pirates voted yes. Even those who had been skeptical found themselves swayed. In the end, the vote was unanimous. Earth is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Council, Thrix announced. With all the rights and responsibilities that entails, Dr. Park bowed to the assembly. Thank you. We won't let you down. What are humanity's plans now? Asked the Proximate delegate. The same as they've always been. Explore. Learn. Help where we can. We've been offered territories, trade routes, even systems to govern. We've declined them all. We don't want an empire. We want friends. And your military intentions? Those 12 ships? They're still out there. Watching. Waiting. Ready to respond if innocents are threatened. But we hope they'll never be needed again. We'd much rather our ships carry scientists and artists than soldiers. The Orion delegate stood. One final question. Your technology, will you share it? Dr. Park's expression grew thoughtful. The technology isn't the important part. It's the understanding behind it. We'll teach anyone who wants to learn, but it's not a quick process. It took us years to stop thinking in terms of limitations and start thinking in terms of possibilities. So you will teach us? We've already started. There are human advisors on 17 worlds teaching what we call quantum philosophy. Not how to phase through walls or disable weapons. Anyone can learn that eventually. But how to see the connections between all things. How to understand that helping others helps yourself. How to recognize that reality is more fluid than most believe. She smiled. Some species are learning faster than others. The Altarians have already achieved basic probability manipulation. The vegans are close to understanding quantum empathy. Even the Krillians, who started from the furthest point, are making remarkable progress. And those who can't learn? Those who refuse to change. Then, they'll live in a galaxy as it is now. One where preying on the innocent is impossible. Where might no longer makes right. Where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them. If they can't learn to see the connections, they'll at least have to live with the consequences. The session continued for hours, discussing trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and collaborative projects. But the real business had been concluded. Humanity was officially part of the galactic community. Later, as delegates filed out, the Sagittarian ambassador approached Dr. Park. May I ask you something, human? Of course. Your species went from first flight to reshaping reality in less than 2 centuries. How? Dr. Park considered the question. I think it's because we never stopped asking why. Why does gravity work? Why can't we go faster than light? Why does observation affect quantum states? Every time someone told us something was impossible, we asked why. And when we understood the why, we realized the impossible was just another word for not yet. And that led to all this. That and one other thing. We never lost our empathy. Our technology advanced, but so did our understanding that we're all connected. Every scientific breakthrough was matched by a philosophical one. We learned to manipulate matter by understanding that we are matter. We learned to affect probability by realizing we are probability. We learned to help others by understanding that others are us, just wearing different faces. The old ambassador nodded slowly. I've lived for 3,000 years, and I've never seen change like this. The galaxy will never be the same. No, Dr. Park agreed. But that's the point. The galaxy was broken. Billions lived in fear. The powerful preyed on the weak. That's not a galaxy worth preserving. So we're not preserving it. We're helping it become what it could be. As the station lights dimmed and delegates returned to their ships, the galaxy settled into its new reality. The age of empires built on fear had ended. The age of civilizations built on cooperation had begun. And somewhere in the void, 12 human ships continued their patrol. Silent guardians against those who would return to the old ways. They had entered the war zone between chaos and order, between might and right, between fear and hope. The enemy, cruelty, exploitation, indifference, hadn't lasted a minute. But the real victory wasn't in the defeat of empires or the transformation of pirates. It was in a child's reunion with her parents. In a former conqueror finding purpose in protection. In 73 species voting unanimously for hope. Humanity had given the galaxy a gift greater than technology or protection. They had given it a mirror, showing each species not just what they were, but what they could become. And in that mirror, the galaxy saw something it had forgotten was possible, a future worth building together.